So yes, my Harbor Freight auto darkening welding helmet finally died. And I'm not complaining because although you hear really scary things about Harbor Freight stuff all the time, this thing's given me good service. I've had it for many, many years, and it's done the job for me. Now, I bought this before I had a TIG welder, and for a MIG welder, it is perfectly okay. And I knew when I bought it that the battery is internal and you can't replace it, and eventually it would fail. But the average life of one of these things is about 10 years, which I think is pretty good. So it's lasted me, well, let's see, not sure when I bought it, but it's probably been 8 years at least. So for the 40 bucks or so that I spent for it, I'm not complaining at all. But there is one problem with this cheap $40 auto darkening welding helmet, and that is it doesn't work so good for TIG, because with TIG it is really critical that you get a really good view of the weld pool. So that little blob of molten metal that you're adding filler rod to, you really need to be able to see that clearly. And these older helmets were green, so it was just monochrome green that you were staring at. And the newer helmets that you can get have something called True Color, which we're going to experiment because, yes, we're going to do an unboxing video. So I ordered a new helmet from Amazon. It showed up yesterday. And normally I don't do unboxing videos, but this is just such a nice box. I mean, okay, anyway. So the brand is Yeswelder. And I did do a little due diligence when or before I ordered this. There was the Lincoln option, which is down at the local hardware store. And I almost went for that. They run just a hair over 100 bucks, which I thought would be pretty good because it said Lincoln on it. I don't think Lincoln's going to put their name on something that wouldn't last. But I've asked a few fabricators what they use, and at least one of them mentioned Clutch. I believe Clutch is the brand. And I looked at those online, and then I looked at this one online, and they were very, very similar in the way they looked. And I'm almost suspecting that, you know, all these things are Chinese made. But I'm wondering if the ones from Clutch aren't just rebranded from some other thing, because they're very similar in the layout of controls. And we're going to give it a try. So right off the bat, it seems to be a little flimsier than the Chicago option, Chicago Electric. Presumably that's how that goes. So yeah, this is supposed to be a True Color welding helmet, which means that what you're looking at through the lens when it activates has more than just green. And that's kind of what I wanted to go for here. On the side we have weld, we have grind, and in the middle position I assume is off. Cut, whatever that means. So sensitivity control, shade darkness here, and delay. Typical of most welding helmets. On the Harbor Freight version, they're all on the inside of the helmet, so everything's in here, except for the actual shade, which is on the outside. But yeah, let's fire this thing up and take it for a test drive. As far as anything else inside the box, we do have an instruction manual here. Comes with either the battery or a spare battery. We'll have to figure that out before we fire an arc for the first time. presumably that's where the battery goes, is right here. Yeah, it says battery. So this is a fail right off the bat because I just can't get that battery tray out of there. But there is a test mode, so we'll try that without removing this. So we'll remove the film. So yes, there is a battery in there. Let's see if I can demonstrate this. By hitting the test button. It goes dark momentarily to tell you there's a battery in there. So according to the instructions, the battery tray is supposed to just slide right out, but I haven't figured out the trick yet. So there are those who will not recommend using a cheap helmet like this, because this is your eyes we're talking about, so you definitely don't want a helmet that is going to flake out at an inopportune time and cause damage to your eyesight. But then again, the flip side of that is that occasional welders like I am really don't want to spend a fortune on a welding helmet that we're only going to use maybe a few times a month at the most. So if this works, this was less than $50 on Amazon. And if it is satisfactory, then it'll be a good option. And what's nice, what I like about this is that the battery is replaceable. So this should last indefinitely as long as I take care of it. Kind of like the fact that it comes with a bag, because one of the problems with this helmet is it was solar and you had to leave it out in the sun and it would always get dusty. So that's kind of a problem. I'd rather just replace the battery once in a while. It's a commonly available battery. It's a CR2450 battery. So pretty common. Any box store or any pharmacy should have that. But the big question, of course, is how does it weld? So let's find out. Here we go. All in all, I love the true color screen in this thing. That is a really nice feature that I'm going to grow to really, really love. So I'll put this thing through its paces, and over the next couple of weeks, maybe I'll come up with a long-term review of it, see if it's going to do what I think it should do. But so far, I love the screen. The screen is very nice. This kind of chintzy plastic shield isn't the best. It just feels cheap. And the controls kind of feel cheap as well. But for the occasional welding that I do, I love the screen. I think it's going to do just nice. I just middle ranged all the settings and it seems like it's pretty good so far. So, all right. So maybe in a while I'll give you a long-term review, and thanks for watching.